This past weekend, slam poet George Watsky made a stop at Springfield College where he performed some of his own slam poetry and quick rapping skills in front of a packed crowd at the Student Union. The beginnings of George Watsky's love for slam poetry began when he was just 16.
I started doing slam poetry when I was 16, like a sophomore in high school in San Francisco, and I saw Def Poetry Jam, which was a show on HBO, but also was a Broadway show before it went to New York. It played in San Francisco, and so I saw that show. I think I was 15, actually. It just blew me away that, like, poetry could be so accessible, so rhythmic, like, so entertaining, and I just knew, like, I wanted to do it. I've always performed, I've always written, and what I really love about spoken word poetry is that it's an art form that's, like, so broad that you can be totally serious, totally funny at any given moment. Like, not a restriction like stand-up comedy that, like, you need to make people laugh or you're failing. You just have to be entertaining, and that's why I really love it.
Watsky gives credit to Busia and Raphael Casal as his inspirations.
Yeah, there's some poets for sure who are my inspirations, people who I saw first. There's this guy, Busia, B-E-A-U-S-I-A, who's a spoken word poet who I think, in terms of, like, the sarcastic stuff in my work, I'm really influenced by. He's just very funny, very energetic on stage, but everything has a really serious core to it, and that I was really drawn to that. This guy, Raphael Casal, another spoken word poet, who I was influenced a lot by his delivery. He has a lot of very rhythmic, very percussive stuff. Yeah, those are probably my two biggest direct spoken word influences.
While Watsky has always loved poetry, and especially slam poetry, he's also interested in rapping and writing screenplays, which are things that he studied at Emerson College.
You know, slam poetry may be a fad, it may be going away, but the fact of the matter is, poetry is not going anywhere. I mean, oral poetry is not going anywhere. People have been performing poetry for thousands of years, and you know, just because the tag slam might die, and the typical up and down cadence might die, I hope that I'm not so boxed into that one definition of slam that I can't continue to do poetry for the rest of my life. I also think that, there's other things I'm interested in, and I don't feel like I have to ride the wave of one cultural fad. I mean, I rap, I write screenplays, I write plays, like, no one art form becoming unpopular or less popular than it was is going to take away my ability to create things, so I'm not really worried. I'm just trying to, make the things that are interesting to me.
But for some beautiful reason, Sgt. Pepper wants you too. So come gory, bring a story, bring a 4 Loko or a 40, but don't drown in your problems when we can all float together. And if you're lonely this weekend, or ever, come and party with your friends at the Lonely Hearts Club, and we can make it all better.
Watsky has 2 albums out. One is a spoken word album, while the other one is a rap album.
Well, I have a spoken word album that I sold with my poetry book before I stopped reprinting it because it was so old that I no longer wanted people to see it. But I also have a hip-hop album that's just me, and a hip-hop album where I'm the frontman for a band called Invisible Ink.
Recently, Watsky was on the Ellen DeGeneres show where he showed off his fast rapping skills.
Being on Ellen was really cool. It's a little bit weird because the audience that she brings out aren't like as versed in hip-hop or spoken word as the ones I usually perform for. But on the other hand, that was kind of cool because they seemed to like it, and I think they learned about a new art form. What was interesting about being on Ellen especially was, well, first of all, she's great, she's really nice, and she's been extremely supportive to me. But I was on it not for my poetry, I was on it for being a really fast rapper, which is weird because, I've been on the road touring my poetry set for almost 4 years now, and then to get all of this notoriety generated off of this one, like, sub-skill that I have, that to me doesn't represent the core of my art form. It's a little bit, like, I want people to know that there's substance to my work, and what I got on there for was pure style. It wasn't the substance, but so, that was a little bit weird, but it's also directed people towards my other work and made people curious about who I am, and a lot of them have discovered that, he's not just a one-trick pony, so that was great.
While he's not sure where he sees himself in the next 5 to 10 years, he wants to explore all different types of poetry, rapping, and writing.
I really don't know where I'm going to be. I mean, if I could create my ideal world, I'd be playing bigger venues. I'd be able to do my music more freely. Yeah, other than that, I mean, I just hope that people still respect me for the art that I'm putting out there, and that, you know, people continue to be entertained by what I do.
To learn more about George Watsky, visit www.facebook.com/gwatsky. You're watching SCTV3. I'm Gabrielle DeMarchi.